We get that burst healer. The battleground has been chosen, and we are going to Cursed Hollow. Zealots with the choice, as Team Liquid elects to keep first pick. And we'll see what they do here. If they intend to stay with the Phoenix, or if they're going to switch it up a little bit.
So Zealots on Cursed Hollow have a 100% win ratio. It is a map that is not really played a lot in Europe. And they have a 2-0 now. Team Liquid has played the map a bit more often. 4 games played, a 1-3 on their end. So what Zealots are currently trying to do is they really target maps where they feel that Team Liquid is weak. And Team Liquid is opting for first pick over anything else. Now this is of course a very heavy macro map, and that immediately doesn't really make me suspicious, but it opens up a few questions. Abathur, for example, was just taken by the Zealots. Now, it's very likely that Team Liquid is opening things up with a Tracer ban again.
Sure.
And then the question remains, what exactly are the Zealots going to do? Because I think they would love to play with Abathur, but at the same time, the first pick is still in the hands of Team Liquid. So Team Liquid could just say, hey, we take Abathur for ourselves, and that gives us the macro play that we really want. With the traditional globals falling off, us not seeing as much Dehaka anymore, not really seeing as much Falset anymore, you could still make good arguments for those heroes to be played on Cursed Hollow, since it is a macro-heavy map, but Abathur would probably be the go-to choice for both of the teams if they get a chance. So for me, the question remains, is Abathur going to be banned out by Zealots, or do they leave it open?
Yeah, because Abathur was actually played yesterday by them, and their only victory against Strict Esports, Zealots that is, they lost 3-1, and they ran a Phoenix, Garrosh, Abathur, Uther, and Thrall composition. So that protection that we were talking about earlier came to light by the Zealots, and then we also had the Abathur that Caldor was just mentioning. So the poke available there too, and honestly, Fix does pretty well in this battleground. There's a lot of chokes that he's able to warp over in case he gets in trouble. The only thing that really hurt Zealots yesterday is we had a Blaze. The ability to move into a Jet Propulsion and a Hanzo arrow was the only team fight that they lost majorly.
Okay, as expected, the Tracer ban comes out right away. So is Abathur being banned by the Zealots? That's the question. Team Liquid has played Abathur 4 times. They won half of the games. And actually, when we're looking at the Zealots, they have a 100% win ratio with Abathur. 5-0 currently. And they, again, ban Medivh. They banned Medivh in the first game, and they do the same thing again. So now the big question here. Liquid, Abathur, yes or no? Because I'm pretty sure that the Zealots would love to play Abathur on such a big map as Cursed Hollow, where it really caters to their playstyle as well. We have a lot of other heroes that you need to consider here, though. Phoenix, again, probably going to drop in a priority a bit at this point, but you still have Hanzo to consider. Hanzo is a hero that Zealots play more than anyone else, and you know they want him here against the bosses, but Liquid is very well aware of it, takes him immediately.
So now they have boss control, they have engage, they can follow it up with any tank they want later on, and they'll be in a good spot. Zealots on their side, will we get that Phoenix now that Hanzo has been taken away? Or do you think they've been burned a little bit too much yesterday with their losses?
I mean, right now Phoenix is sitting at 3 wins and 5 losses, so he's not doing too well in Europe. Maybe teams are currently forcing him a bit too much, not quite understanding how to play him just yet. Maybe Stukov is just not the support that you want to have with Phoenix. They were paired quite a bit, so there is a good chance that we will still see Phoenix for the Zealots. But I would expect that Phoenix is slowly and steadily going to start to decline a bit in priority for the teams. Probably still going to make it into the draft, but maybe not on that #1 spot anymore. And I'm more curious about an Abathur priority, since I really think Abathur is going to be a hero that will make it into the draft here. The Toxicness give you a lot of vision about rotations. You can play around the curse extremely well, and of course you have that soaking aspect of Abathur that on such a big macro map is always a big advantage. And there we have it. Abathur taken immediately by Zealots. Again, they are 5-0 on the hero. This is the 6th game that they play in 2018 with Abathur and with that Tyrael. So once again, we're talking about sanctification around boss fights.
Sanctification, boss control, Holy Ground could even be an option here at 13 instead of going for that Law and Order. And as mentioned, the sanctification to make sure that you steal that thing away. Now, Team Liquid on their side, do we get the Garrosh right away? Garrosh is actually pretty solid against Tyrael. If you're able to get a pick on him and then go for the taunt, Tyrael has a low health pool and can die pretty quickly, even with that Abathur hat coming in. And then Maiev as well has gone up in priority for Team Liquid. They seem to start picking her up in that 3rd slot location. So if they want to go for that Garrosh-Maiev combination, this would be a great time to pick it up.
Garrosh is a good hero for them regardless, and it was actually really interesting. The last map was the 2nd time only that Team Liquid lost with Sportbilly on Garrosh. They have 8 wins on the hero and just suffered their 2nd loss. So fantastic hero for them, great win ratio. The team play is coordinated very heavily around Garrosh plays. Diablo, I would say, is an option, but against what Zealots have, maybe not quite what you want to go for. But we have an aggressive playstyle instead. Okay, Team Liquid going for a Nubarak setup.
Yeah, a big change up from them. The Anubarak we saw yesterday played by Trick Esports, the idea being behind that you stop any wombo combos from coming your way and you drop a cocoon on the important target. And then, of course, you dive forward and try to have that number advantage in a 5v4. Team Liquid hasn't showcased this as much as other teams. Mostly Fnatic and Trick has been the ones that we've seen picking it up pretty often. But hey, it's a welcome change. And honestly, at level 16, the Epicenter on Anubarak is great in the chokes around a tribute.
Yeah, we have 5 games so far by Team Liquid on Anubarak, and they won 2 out of those 5. As you said, the main team that really picks it. Okay, I'll actually like that. So, banning out Vikings against Liquid, that was an oldie but goldie for Team Liquid. They tried it once this season, and it backfired pretty heavily. But Zealots are currently looking at this and they're thinking, what could be the X factor?
Yeah.
What could be the one thing that maybe just turns this entire thing against us, especially with Abathur, and they're playing it safe, better safe than sorry, banning out the Vikings here. That's something that you see only happening against Liquid.
It's been a while since we've had a Team Liquid Vikings, but it's totally warranted. Especially when you look at the composition. I mean, you have Hanzo, Anubarak, Malfurion. That's a strong 3-man. You put anyone in that 4-man, you could even grab Falset here if you wanted to have the Mighty Gust for disengages, and then move into the Vikings, and you would have a really strong lane that Abathur and Tyrael by themselves are not a good foundation for dealing with.
Yeah, and currently the Sonya ban, of course, also makes a lot of sense, since one of the things that Team Liquid tries to shut down here is the Sonya and Abathur composition that did pretty well on the last map. So another good setup here by them. But yeah, the TLV ban always just makes me smile, because there's always a chance that on Cursed Hollow, Team Liquid is actually going to pick the Vikings.
Yeah.
But oftentimes they're not even looking towards the hero, but teams are so afraid of that Hazop's Vikings factor that they just use that second ban. And I can just imagine Team Liquid pretty often just sitting there giggling and saying like, well, didn't even want to play it, but whatever. It's like when teams in the past banned out Cho'Gall against Zealots because they knew that every now and then all of a sudden ADRD would pull out that rabbit out of the hat and it would work out for them. So it's one of those respect picks or bans against a certain team that we have.
Greymane and Kharazim, full dive comp here for the Zealots. Tyrael leading charge, Greymane afterwards, and Kharazim to help clean anyone up that might run away, especially post level 16. Zealots are wanting to bring the fight to Team Liquid.
Yeah, they're really coordinating their draft around Abathur at this point. So you have with Greymane a fantastic copy for Abathur, and you can of course also target him with Symbiote. But when we have Kharazim in the setup, Kharazim is absolutely insane with the Symbiote hat. The increased attack speed is fantastic. You also you have a good mobility, so they can keep close to a target, and then Abathur gets the extra damage in. So Abathur Kharazim combos can be insanely difficult to deal with at the end of a team fight when Kharazim, with the help of a Symbiote, can literally just clean everyone up.
What's the pick here for Team Liquid?
I mean, from Team Liquid's perspective, I'm very interested to see how they're going to use this now. Anubarak has this very aggressive playstyle where you try to push past your opponent and you cocoon someone in the process. So a few more dive heroes would be good for them. Maybe, okay, Blaze, that actually adds a little bit of additional safety and layer defense for them.
Yeah.
Also allows them to maybe fight a bit more heavily over bosses later on. Even though Sanctification is of course going to give a great advantage to their opponent. And we have Genji with this setup as well, so both the Shimada brothers are now taken, trying to heavily dive that backline and maybe get a quick kill against Greymane if they can.
I was sort of thinking about the possibility of a Cassia, but then that would have been triple backline. Just to handle that Greymane and Kharazim would be pretty tanky and hard to deal with.
By the way, I really like that Blaze pick, because I think if they don't pick Blaze here, Zealots take it. And in the composition of Zealots, Blaze would have been a nightmare for Team Liquid.
Yeah.
You would have had the layered defense of Tyrael Blaze that we've seen played at the Western Clash a lot, and you have that also with an Abathur head, with Kharazim. You have the bunker around these plays. The boss fight would have been so much better for Zealots, and it is already good. So I think that was a really heads-up pick by Team Liquid. That they also were, they didn't only pick Blaze because it helps them. They took Blaze because if Zealots would have taken Blaze on the last spot, that would have been a nightmare for them.
And the final pickup, Malfurion, to help out against that lane and Blaze, but also just to have a nice solo top lane with some decent wave clear here, so this 4-man on Zealots can be pretty impactful.
Yeah, I'm really curious for how much Malfurion is going to contribute to this now. But the lineup that we're seeing, I don't know, every single time I see a Kharazim and Abathur setup, it is, once you gain some momentum, you can just go. It's just like all-out war. You just try and go in. The sustain that we have on their side is strong. You have Abathur with the Symbiote. You have, of course, then your own support in the form of Kharazim. Then Tyrael comes into play with his shields. So there's a lot for the Zealots where they can be very aggressive. Where it is going to be rough for them if they start falling behind. Then coming back into this is going to be a bit difficult. So their whole idea is going to be to try and get some momentum going and then just call the shots in the game and make Team Liquid react. But if they're actually pushed into a passive position, then I think it's going to be very difficult to find those kills.
Now, is this going to be a 7-sided or is it going to be a Divine Palm? A Divine Palm against Genji is doable, but difficult to read when he wants to come in and get that kill. Good chance you miss it.
We've seen a lot of 7-sided, and I actually am also a big fan of that. Question is, of course, how much value can you get out of the 7-sided around bunker play? That's the big one. If you find an isolation, it's great, but both are definitely possible here. Heading into game number 2, we're going to find out if Zealots can take a 2-0 lead over Team Liquid, or if Team Liquid is going to fight back here on Cursed Hollow. To the left side of the map, we have the Zealots with Greymane, played by Chris. ADRD again on Abathur, currently 5-0 with a hero. Zarmani on Malthael, Mopsy on Tyrael, and Shat on Kerosene.
On the right side in the red, Team Liquid. Splendor playing Malfurion, Sport Billion on Nubrak, Eternal on Blaze, Nurok on Genji, and Hasawabs coming with the Hanzo.
Also, Zealots, we've been talking a bit about Malthael, and Abathur is sitting at a 5-0, so 100% win record for them. But if you look at the Zealots and their Malthael play, it's a bit of a different story. They also played Malthael 5 times. The problem for them is they haven't won a single game with him.
Immediate aggression here from Team Liquid as they jump on top of the turret, trying to get that experience out real quickly. Zarmani able to help slow that down, though, by dropping down that carpet. Kerosene material trying to catch somebody rotating on in. Can they find someone?
They're going to try here. I mean, the aggression early on and delivered at least half a hit point, half a turret taken out here. But Malthael is still one of the heroes that is very interesting on the European scene because, as I said, Zarmani is currently sitting at an 0-5 with the hero. And if you look at the European playstyle in general, then Malthael, let's just face it, in Europe he sucks. He's at 8 wins and 22 losses, and that puts him down at a 27% win ratio. If you compare that to other offlaners, then this is just absolutely abysmal. In other regions, we see Malthael a bit more. A lot of the teams there play heavily around cooldowns on the heroic abilities, trying to get quick kills. But over in Europe, so far, the hero doesn't find as much acceptance. And for Zealots, this is also a bit of a risk to take, of course, as we said. They haven't really found kills with him yet, but maybe the Abathur setup together with Tyrael allows him to sustain himself through the fights enough to get these kills.
Yeah, part of it is him playing against a Hanzo. Hanzo being able to outrange a Malthael or any poke that's coming your way in the form of even Blaze in the middle of a team fight, and then of course that kill coming in later. It's going to be difficult for Malthael to get that value, but hopefully with him being near a Tyrael, they can keep him alive. Of course, the help of Abathur too, coming in with that symbiote hat. Now, 4 connect soon for our teams, and Team Liquid will go for the traditional type of play of grabbing the Giants, pushing bottom, but Zealots, on the other hand, getting aggressive with Merc Kicks.
Yeah, we see that a bit more often now that we are taking the early night camp here. But you just pointed out Hanzo on the side of Team Liquid, and this is actually a really good point because I want to come back to that really quickly. When we're looking at the European teams, then Trick Esports and Zealots are the 2 teams that play Hanzo the most, by far. Both of them really love playing around the hero. The thing is, Team Liquid is actually the most successful team in Europe with Hanzo. Even more successful than Dignitas, for example.
Well, I guess Trick has a losing record, but Trick plays a lot of Hanzo.
Yeah, like, again, the most successful, not the team that plays him the most. Trick and Zealots played Hanzo 25 times, but Trick has only a 44% win record with him. Zealots have a 52, and you now put that into the context of of Team Liquid rocking an 86% win ratio with him. They have 12 wins and only 2 losses with Hanzo. So when they run Hanzo, it is insanely impactful. They don't draft him as often, but when he fits into that draft, he's just delivering. So this is something that you actually have to acknowledge here. If a team is even stronger than Dignitas, our #1 spot in the league on a certain hero, that's pretty respectable. So to put that into the overall European perspective, Hanzo has in Europe a 56% win ratio, which means that Team Liquid is sitting 30% above the average Hanzo playing team.
And it's showing. Look at the aggression that they have already here. Hasawab's constantly dropping out the Scatteros and those arrows. Splendor bringing that Innovate to make sure that he is good to go. Sport Billy even win this lane against Tyrael so far, but pushing it in, getting the turrets cleaned up. So Team Liquid starting to take a small lead in experience, and if they can continue this trend of grabbing the tributes, this will start to break at level 9, 9.5 whenever they get the curse going and pushing forward.
The experience alone is actually not what impresses me. What I really like here is the way that they are pressuring the map at this point. We have seen how currently Tyrael struggled at the bot lane. We're now also seeing how Blaze is starting to zone out Malthael. And everyone on the side of Zealots is low. Tyrael is about to fall at the bot lane, barely keeps himself alive with a quick shield. And Kharazim had now just to go back to the Nexus to heal up again. Same is true for Mopsio. So this tribute that is spawning here is something where Team Liquid is already positioning themselves quite nicely to make that fight happen. And with Abathur in their composition, the Zealots have now to consider letting this one slide.
They have to, especially with the Watchtower being grabbed already. Team Liquid sees all the angles they're coming in from. Now Mopsio can delay thanks to Eldruin. He tosses it out already.
Now Malthael is rotating already, and Anub'arak is not on his way. He's actually soaking an additional wave. So if Team Liquid can't grab it quickly, then they will have to probably play this a bit slower because they will be outnumbered. Now Anub'arak is making the rotation from the mid lane, and Zealots are trying to create some space to grab the tribute. Nuruk is being attacked here, zips away, but now Mopsio can go straight for it. Blaze is on the way, but I think he's going to be too slow for this one.
Does he have the ability to get over here in time? Nope, but he goes in for a jet propulsion and looks at Malthael, and Malthael gets deleted. One of the issues with Malthael, low health pool. If you get caught out, you are done. And that is showcased by Team Liquid. And guess what? It's a 5-minute mark. You know what spawns at 5 minutes? Bosses.
Yes, and you have a Hanzo. And with that kill, they can go for the boss. Outside of that boss now, though, I would have said that's still a worthy trade for Zealots. Losing one hero, but grabbing the tribute, it's actually not too bad for them. Tribute count is now 1-1, but the boss player, of course, that makes it absolutely worth it for Team Liquid. With a kill against Malthael, you know that you have enough time with Hazops on Hanzo to drop that boss quickly. And that's something that Zealots probably didn't even see coming, because that was a really quick capture.
And this is going to be a true damage, too. Abathur didn't pick up the Mule at level 7, meaning that any damage done by this boss will stay as a permanent damage throughout this entire match. The boss pushing in this top lane. Team Liquid not making a play for a double boss play. Don't really need to, especially here in the early game with all 5 being up. Instead, they're just trying to grab the experience. If they can grab this turret and maybe the fort, they'll be feeling pretty nice. But Zealots, they're going to give it away easily. Mopsio and Shat come in and put some pressure on Hanzo to make him back up.
You can already tell from the way these fights are going. Oh, Genji losing to Abathur down here at the bot lane. That's, of course, a bit of a nuisance. We have Zarmany in a fight locked into with Sport Billy. Now that Abathur is starting to help out, Billy has to back off here. The problem is that we still saw Blaze pushing the mid lane. And AD already moved in with Abathur, burrowed in with a slug to make sure that he catches the experience. But this is still Team Liquid taking a slight lead in XP. And of course now making a play for another tribute. Their problem is that up at the top lane, we still see a Siege Giant camp that was perfectly timed by Zealots that will do a lot of damage if given time.
And Zealots hit 10 because of that Genji kill too, so this is definitely a major issue for Team Liquid. Genji finally shows up to the fight, so we're going to have a 5-on-5, but wait for that Ultimate Evolution, it will be up soon. Kharazim has yet to pick his level 10, going to decide in the moment, or based on whoever they get the fight on. Mopsio moves in, has that sanification available for his team, drops it just in time. The X-Ray comes out a little too late.
Yeah, no damage for that. Bunker is in play now though as well, and of course the extra armor is helping out, but here comes the last right and the kill against Anub'arak. Kill for Zealots. Counter attempt here by Nuruk, and he's trying to get Shat, but he's not quite getting him, and now he himself is in trouble. Zarmany is trying to hunt him down. Chris also on the move, but he does not confirm a kill yet. We have Palm taken on the side of Kharazim, but he has a second kill against Blaze as he goes down, and it's a triple as we see Chris just going ham on Greymane, taking Hanzo down. And that's another tribute for the Zealots and 3 kills.
Zealots won that fight because of 2 reasons. One, the sanification at the start, great. Stopped the full engagement that we wanted from Team Liquid. Secondly, the Earth ally, that level 4 pickup, did not get cleaned up. And Shad was in a position where Nuruk was about to start getting resets on them if he was able to kill off Kharazim, but the Earth ally prevented the majority of that auto attack damage from being effective.
And of course, while also X-Strike is a fantastic tool to keep yourself alive, there's still a significant amount of damage coming out from it, but that was completely negated here. That would have helped multiple heroes, but that wasn't the case. Here's Nuruk, can't commit to taking down Shad, and as you said, with everybody being this low, resets on the side of Genji would have been fantastic.
Yeah. Getting the Kharazim kill, you would have had him get another Swift Strike, go straight in for the Genji, you would have had an arrow maybe follow up from Hanzo, and that could have been lights out for Zealots. But it's curtains for Team Liquid instead, as the boss pushes down this bottom lane, and with a tribute about to spawn, we have Zealots 1 tribute away from getting a curse.
Yeah, and they are looking currently strong as well, but they don't have level 13 talents yet, and thanks to the Siege Giants, this should be an easy clear, so they can still fight for it. Abathur has taken a position at the top lane, is soaking the experience as the wave is hitting the fort, and down here everybody is once again just gathering up to make sure that they can fight over the tribute. While we're heading into the fight, I also want to quickly point out this is the first game in Europe where we do not see Phoenix picked or banned. So currently the team's dropping in priority, but here comes the fight. Once again, the copy is out. They're trying to create some space here. Shad is going for it. The bunker is already in, and someone has to interrupt Shad. Here comes Hanzo, making sure that it is interrupted. Quest completed. ADRD about to lose the copy here. That's important. They still need to drop it though, and they do. But here comes now the move from Team Liquid. They want to make sure they're not going to lose out on this one.
Immediate engage into Mopsio. He goes for the Sanctification, but the Coon at the last second will make sure the Sanctification does not pop out. Shad has to use the Divine Palm, but Malthael gets picked off anyway. Shad and Mopsio have to retreat to the top left, and Chris, hoping to get out, he's going to be able to dark fight away, but Hasselhoff is in pursuit. He jumps over the wall, Shad from the side. Sportbilly has a burrow charge.
And they're coming in from every single angle. Kharazim is dead. Everybody on the run. The Zealots losing 2 here. Fantastic team fight by Team Liquid. The X-Strike dropping the first target. And then from all angles, Team Liquid committing to the chase and taking them apart.
But the middle lane is going to give that 13 over to Zealots if this is not cleaned up by Genji in time. Genji heads on over, but it looks like that fort is going to fall. And that's going to be level 13 here for the Zealots. So at least we're on even footing in that regard.
A beautiful series so far. A fantastic first map, and game number 2 is also delivering here. It's awesome. This is Heroes of the Storm. Back and forth the entire game. Both teams, they know what's on the line here, and they are not yielding an inch in these fights.
And I really appreciate how the bunker was utilized to make sure that the ultimate evolution from Abathur, the duration expired while the bunker was up the entire time. Team Liquid danced perfectly around that and made sure Malthael clone did not get that much value in the team fight. Team Liquid now setting up for another engagement in the top left while Zealots start the channel.
And this is the curse, of course. One of the teams is going to get the curse here, as we are seeing in Sportbilly under pressure so far. No last strides. Here comes the bunker and the Sanctification, and once again ADR is committing to the copy as he's trying to go for Noruke in the backline. Hanzo is zipping out, and so is Genji. Both of them on the retreat, but Shad is getting the channel as the entire team pushes Team Liquid back. The Zealots are getting the tribute, and now the curse is on Team Liquid, which would allow the Zealots to commit to a fight here, but they're not diving in the fort just yet, and the fight is still raging on.
Sportbilly, the last price comes out, and he falls. It's going to be a reset. But the X-Strike, it lands on 3. Can Nurok get a reset? The shields popping out from Abathur, keeping Zarmany and Shad alive, but they are still low and bruised. Nurok wanting to chase. He jumps in for the engage. Zarmany at the same time puts a mark and jumps straight into the fight.
The fight is not over, and the mid lane is actually getting pushed against the Zealots thanks to the Night Camp taken earlier. The curse is not getting value there. The bot lane is a bit of a different story. That's where we're seeing a double wave of the Zealots coming through, and Team Liquid, they will lose the fort here, but they're still fighting here at the top, trying to keep the Zealots busy to minimize the gains that they can get through that curse.
Fort in the bottom lane should be the only one that does get picked off here. Middle lane gets cleared up by Genji, and it looks like Team Liquid, through a curse, is going to be able to sustain through this curse, as it has 9 more seconds left. So they have all 3 keeps, and they're even positioned around the boss. They want to make sure nothing cheeky can come through the Zealots.
Yeah, at this point, of course, Zealots are looking to find some additional value, and they're going to that top lane. They're trying to get that last fort, but Liquid is already there, and the curse is over, and Liquid, are they willing to fight here? A 3 versus 4 situation, and they're letting it go. With Abathur being on the map, this could quickly turn into a 5 versus 5 battle, and they are not, sorry, 5 versus 3 battle, and they're not willing to take it. Now, Liquid is in a situation where Zealots have now also destroyed a few of the walls up here to the top, making sure that vision is going to be limited. And Liquid is a bit behind here. Not quite a level, but it is going to be that 16 talent that Zealots is now going to get any moment that will set them apart from the red team.
The good news for them, though, is that they are 1 tribute away from getting Curse, so they can give up the next one if they have to, if they don't have that 16 yet. They don't have to force any fights. They can play slow. Zealots, if they ever show themselves in the bottom lane, floating a little bit too far away, they always have the chance that she's out of boss. The Team Liquid has options. All they have to do is make sure that Zealots don't get anything too cheeky in terms of taking the boss from them, or even catching them in a bush gank. And so far, with the ability to have Hanzo checking out bushes constantly, and also the vision, they aren't allowing themselves to even get caught out.
Vision is a really good point. That's a major asset now for Team Liquid through Hanzo. And of course, Blaze is trying to get the experience in the mid lane so that the 16 talent is ready for Team Liquid. The Zealots are not getting anything out of the advantage with their talent choice that they have. Their own boss for the entire time was not ready. It now is, so we could end up with a boss trade. But for Zealots, that was not quite what they wanted to. With an entire level being ahead, they would have loved to take a good fight here, but they couldn't make it work. Now Zealots go for the boss at the bot lane, but Team Liquid is responding in kind up at the top.
That's right. And they'll have to come play defense, because their fort did get deleted by the curse on the last rotation, which means this boss will be moving towards a keep. But Team Liquid gets 16 and takes their own boss, so they at least trade out pretty evenly in terms of that map control, as long as they can clear this boss up on the bottom side. The tribute will spawn in the middle, So this is a possibility that Zealots will just go ahead and take that away, but Team Liquid's completely content with that.
Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward spot for Liquid because they would love to get the curse. If they do, then their own boss is going to get insane value. But at the same time, they cannot really because the boss is pushing through the bot lane. I would expect that Abathur actually burrows up to the Tribute once that he sees everybody down at the bot lane and takes it.
Definitely an option for him. Also starting to clear up. Noxia 2. They jump on Zarmony, who may be a little bit too far behind. He gets some movement speed. Here comes the arrow. Gonna connect on 3.
Starting to go in here, and once again, we have Sanctification coming out. There's also Chris helped out, but everybody moving away here. Abathur did not commit to the... And he's now burrowed in now. He's now starting to take it. So as expected, seeing everybody at the bot lane allows ADRD to go for it, and he immediately goes back to the Nexus. But that, of course, prevents the curse.
That level 13 pickup by Malthael. Inevitable end. Making sure that he didn't get caught in that arrow. Able to pop it just in time. Had he actually been connected on, that could have been a noob wreck for charging him right away. That's why a level 13 talent is so important. Pick it up when you are playing Malthael at home. Having that pre-cleanse basically for yourself.
And at this point, it's just about camps again. So Liquid is currently trying to time the camp a bit. Zealots are also in the process of taking their own. But this is really one of these situations where there's still a lot open on the map. If you just look at the spot that both teams are in, Liquid is slightly behind by half a level. Both of them sitting on 17 now. But we have that Tribute spawning again. And for Liquid, that means that they can still curse. And the problem that Zealots has is if Liquid wins a team fight around the Tribute and takes the curse against the Zealots, that could snowball very quickly in favor of Team Liquid.
Into a core, possibly.
Yeah, exactly. Depending on the situation, that could definitely happen. So this is a bit of an awkward spot for Zealots to be in because they are in the lead, but by no means is Liquid out of this.
Zealots win the fight in the middle lane over the night count, but Team Liquid doesn't mind. They want to go over and head to the Tributes.
They're going to get the curse here.
Yeah.
The Zealots aren't even fighting for it. They are already zoned out. And that's now the question. But the problem is, the Zealots is actually in a spot where they say, hey, we have a camp in the mid lane, and we have a camp in the top lane. We're fine with this. You can curse now, because the one thing that we would be scared of is you taking structures, is you getting infrastructure and therefore experience. And we're going to make that very difficult for you guys. So now the biggest push that is happening against the Zealots is at the bot lane, and I really like that Blaze is currently with a push because he's going to pick up the extra experience through that wave very quickly and then rotates into the mid lane so that they can make the play for the fort. But this is very likely to equalize the situation between the two teams if played correctly.
Yeah, they just want to move into 20 against Zealots at the same time. Sport Billy actually goes in for a bit of a burrow charge. Chris able to get out thanks to Kharazim, giving that cleansing touch. Aetherno and crew start working on this keep wall, and they have 25 seconds left on the curse, so they continue to keep up this pressure. That bottom lane is about to get that keep.
Exactly. The bottom lane is important, so the more towers now fall, the more forts fall, the better for Team Liquid to just get the experience here. And they're engaging into the fight again because Malthael has shown at the bot lane. He's defending right now, and so they know that they have a numeric advantage, and they're trying to run with it. Once again, there comes the arrow.
Oh!
The double kill! Kharazim is down! Greymane is dead! Team Liquid with a cocoon here in play. They're trying to go for Tyrael, and he just explodes! Mopsio has no chance to keep himself alive, and Team Liquid goes for keep, and they can go for core.
That was so quick. The Dragon's Arrow into a Kharazim that was coming in for the cleansing touch, and he got it off, but it didn't matter. Genji came in with the full-on damage. Tyrael got stuck with a cocoon, so he couldn't even Sanctification, and Team Liquid takes out 3 right away, and they're starting to head towards the core. They're going to get rid of this Malthael clone as soon as they can. They may even take out a Zarmony as he goes in for the burrow charge.
And even if they couldn't commit to the core, which they do of course now, the bot lane keep is also falling. Everything works for Team Liquid. They have the 20, they drop the core. The Zealots, they were looking in charge for most of this game, but Liquid with a fantastic team fight, they turn it around and they equalize the score in the series. Team Liquid takes Cursed Hollow and wins against the Zealots, delivering the first loss to ADRD on his Abathur.
That was such a clean fight there towards the end.